So, okay. So you might have to agree that it's being recorded. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to be catching it right now. So just give us like a hot second to get it all on the web. You could probably fast forward a couple seconds here. So let's go to live on Facebook. Lovey love. Let's talk about this. To abundance, self-expression, and truth. Okay. So it's preparing to live stream the meeting. And
it's being live streamed.
Yeah, and I'll still have to go into Facebook and
update the settings.
Update the settings. Okay. So give me a second here. Video.
Says live on Facebook.
Okay, public. Okay, now it's officially live. So you can go in and share.
Okay, let's see. There it is. I see it.
And it might, if you have your sound on, it might go a little, might double up a little bit there.
Sweet.
Okay, let me.
We are shared. We are ready. Let's do the thing.
Deborah and I are doing this thing. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. We agreed, or at least I just made the assumption that you would agree we would be friends, even though we just met. I was like, be my friend. I'm such a weirdo that way. But you know, when I click with somebody, I click with somebody. And when I feel really like good with somebody, I feel good with somebody. And I feel like that's kind of related to what we're talking about. Like when you feel good, and it makes more good. And like, isn't this what abundance is?
Exactly.
Yeah. So Deborah, do you want to just quickly like say hi, who you are? Do you want to do any of that stuff? You into that?
Sure. So my name is Deborah McDaniel. My title is TBD.
Love it. Love it.
Like, I change my title like every week. I think what I landed on yesterday is I am a business expansion coach. That felt really good to land on. Yeah. But basically, I help women entrepreneurs to like dismantle and innovate the systems that are driving their businesses. And that's not just like marketing systems, business systems, but also belief systems, and helping them get into alignment. Like this is true manifestation of getting into alignment with what it is that we want by innovating the things that are driving us, keeping the gold nuggets and releasing and making better the things that are holding us back.
Yeah, I love all of that. Like, just as you're like, it just feels so true. It feels so real. Like based on even just like the couple of coffee chats we had, I'm like, like
I've been trying to define this forever and I like couldn't put my finger on it. And I'm like, this is it. It's all about like expansion through innovating systems.
Yeah. And we all have systems, right? And that's kind of, I feel like we'll kind of touch on that a little bit today, like in terms of like, you know, what do I need to kind of recalibrate in my system or shift or change or tweak or pivot or whatever the thing is, in order to create more abundance. So since this is like it's live on my page, most people that are here, you know who I am. I'm Leah. I'm a transformational coach. And I really kind of resonate a lot with what Deborah was saying. It's like we kind of do the same thing. We just kind of give it a different name and maybe talk about it a little differently. But ultimately, we're here to bring you back to who you are, and more about what you're here to do, right? Because there is a what we do here in the world. And I think when it comes to the what am I doing, we first of all, we want it to work.
Yes.
You know, like if you're here watching and you're drawn to this title of abundance, chances are you're looking for more of that. So we kind of want to talk
Mhm.
about, both of us kind of met and we just decided to call it like this abundance portal, just like poof for both of us. Like
Yeah.
massive, like massively, and not just financially, right? Not just financially. It's not
Mhm.
just about the money, although that's a great way to mark things too. There's no shade in that
Sure.
game. Um,
Right.
but I think we kind of wanted to share a little bit about like the little surprises we had around like what actually created that abundance. So
Mhm.
that's my little spiel there. Anything you want to riff on there?
I love it. I love it. Yeah. I think when people think of like opening an abundance portal,
Yeah.
they usually think of it as like this one massive thing that shifts everything. And it's like, it's not that. Like opening your abundance portal is not one big transformational cataclysmic event that like you just like, but that's what people want. That's what people are searching for, is like, what is the thing that's going to do this? And what I found is like it's such little bitty things. It's not big things that are creating
Yeah.
the channel. It's little things that we're not seeing as little. Like they're so little that we're not paying attention to them.
Yeah. The
And
subtleties.
yeah, and it's like, okay, so let's pay attention to the little things,
Yeah.
like that are just the smallest thing that you wouldn't even think would be the thing that shifts you into starting to receive more abundance. But those are the pieces that are the most important.
Yeah, those little subtleties. And I think even kind of pulling off of that, um, we're almost not cognizant of the decisions that we make on the daily. Like, did I really
Yes.
decide to like heat up my old coffee and like, it's such a, we're so habituated to our daily interactions with life
Yeah.
around us.
Mhm.
And really when we're making different decisions. We give ourselves different opportunities to have different bits of feedback and results too, right? And so, yes, everything Deborah
Yep.
said, it's like, it's the small things and the small decisions, but it's also making a different decision and deciding to do it another way. And that was a really
Yeah.
like, that was a big piece. And those decisions aren't necessarily, like you said, they're not these big Hollywood monumentous, like,
Mhm.
like this big thing. I'm going to change my whole life. It's like, it's not necessarily that, but it's a subtlety always resulting in re-identifying yourself,
Yes.
right? It's like, I'm going to make a decision about my identity and
Yep.
how I'm deciding to see myself. We kind of talked about
Mhm.
that. Did you want to share a little bit about that? Like a bit of your story there?
Yeah. So you're so spot on, because I was literally thinking like it's literally like choosing to realign with yourself
Mm-hmm.
and not align yourself with the external of what other people, even if they're not telling you, but you're interpreting what other people are doing as what is supposed to happen with you. And that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Is I went through, so I've only been an entrepreneur online for a year. And I went through all of these ups and downs where I did my own thing. I like was hiding, but doing my own thing. Started as a ghostwriter and an editor. And I did it on Upwork so I could hide because I had this huge visibility wound.
Yeah.
But I knew inherently that no matter where I chose to show up, I was going to make the money that I wanted to make. And so immediately I started creating $3,000 months, $5,000 months, $6,000 months. And then I started like to hit, like my goal was 10K months. And I did that in 3 months. I went past, my goal was 8,000. And I went from 6,000, 7,000 to then 12,000 to
Yeah.
then 16,000 to then 15,000. And at this point, I started freaking out because I didn't trust
Yeah.
that what I was creating was safe for me to create.
Yeah.
And I started looking externally for somebody to validate me, to tell me, like, this is the right thing for me to do. What I'm doing is what other people are telling me, like, it's the successful thing.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
like
I
we kind of
sought out,
hit this cap.
yeah,
How
like I hit
let it
this
be.
cap of like, holy shit, like what am I doing right now? Like, is this
Yeah.
is this real? Am I supposed to be doing this? because everybody around me is saying that this level to hit is so hard.
Yeah.
And that I'm supposed to go step by step by step and do this thing. And I didn't do any of that. I just went with like my gut, which
Yes.
makes perfect sense because in human design, I'm a manifesting generator. So I am like highly attuned to my sacral.
Yeah.
But in that moment, when I hit the months that were scary, because I didn't know that I was capable of doing that, I started to look for external people, coaches, who would not coach me, but would instead tell me what to do. Like not actual coaching, but tell me, like, I'm going to take my hands off the wheel.
Yeah.
And I want you to steer the ship for me.
Yeah. Why did
And
you do that? Why did you do it that way?
I was
Like, if you got, since we're like being
terrified.
honest, like, why did you do it that way?
Well, first of all, at the time, I didn't know that that's what I was doing. I thought I was genuinely looking for support
Gotcha.
to like help me make what I was doing safe.
Yeah.
Because in my head, what I'm doing is not safe.
Gotcha.
Nobody around me has ever, and always done this. I've always been very quick to manifest what I want and defy the odds. And that's a story that played out of like, I am the underdog. I step into something, people don't expect a lot out of me, and then I blow their minds with what I'm capable of.
Yes.
And in this case, I blew my own mind and I wasn't prepared for that.
Blew my own mind.
Like I didn't think, like literally what I wanted was 8,000 a month. And I was like, if I hit 8,000 a month, man, like this is it.
Yeah.
And I blew past it and I didn't know how to, I wasn't grounded. I wasn't like energetically grounded. I was still very much in my victim and my stories and my shaming. Right. Which is why I had started my business hiding, because I wasn't ready for that. Yeah. And so I hired people that I thought were going to help me make this safe. But what was really happening is I was seeking the people that would tell me what to do, to like take my hands off the wheel so that I wasn't responsible for this anymore.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's like, it was like I need to shirk the responsibility because I cannot hold this. I cannot be in charge here.
I can't be in charge.
I can't do this. Who am I to call in $16,000 in 4 freaking months of my business? Like I literally hit $30,000 in like 5 months of starting my business. It was like ridiculous. Like coming from corporate America where I was capped at what I was capable of earning. And then all of a sudden it was like, poof, like it was too much. It was too much, too fast.
Too much, too fast. Yeah.
And so I like enlisted all of these different people that were all doing the same thing in different ways, which was telling me that it was okay for me to take my hands off the wheel and they could lead me.
Right.
And what happened from that is like my income went like, poof, it like tanked. And then it would go up and it would tank and it would go up and it would tank. And I couldn't figure out why, like, how can I come back to this? What was so different in the beginning of my business, where if you fast forward to December of last year, after this up and down, calling in misaligned clients, shifting, pivoting, I burned down my business like 3 separate times and then rebuilt it from the ground up, only to run into the same issue. And it got to the point where it was like in November, December, I started to realize like, oh, I see what's happening. Like I've been playing out my patterns. I've been intentionally closing my abundance portal to keep myself safe. And I've been intentionally acting like I'm running the show and I'm steering my business, and I'm not.
And you're not.
I haven't stepped into the driver's seat at all for like 8 months.
Yeah. But it makes sense how you did it before. Like that makes sense. Like if we look at it, we're not there to like beat ourselves up and be like, oh, God, like, feel bad about the fact that
it was like, okay, this was the defense mechanism that happened when I hit a level that I didn't know I was capable of hitting so fast. Because in my brain, I thought I can do this incrementally. Like, I'm not going to hit this. Nobody hits this level this fast. And then I did it and I surpassed even what I wanted. And my whole body just like was like, no, this is not safe. We're not good with this. This is not cool. And I started to manifest all of these triggering situations that would validate that you're not safe right now at this level. This is not safe. And so then I would like try and like pivot, because it's like, no, the path is right. The path is right. Maybe I'm just coming at it wrong. So let
Yeah.
me hire somebody to tell me what's the right way to handle this. What's the right path to take about this road that I'm on.
Yeah.
And that's where we landed, was in December. I wound up losing all of my clients
Yeah.
at once. Like it was like within a week, I had lost what was stable income for at least another 6 months.
Yeah.
One by choice and the rest not by choice. Like it all just imploded.
Yes. Or like explode, implode, like either way,
Yeah.
it
Disintegrated.
left
Because it
disintegrated.
wasn't a
Yeah.
solid foundation to begin with. It was so shaky that
Yeah.
it didn't take very much for me to like bring it all crumbling down. And
Yeah.
that's what happened.
Yeah. Cause you from that immediate decision of like, I'm gonna release my responsibility here. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm hands off now. And we totally love and appreciate, that it's the system trying to take care of itself.
Yeah.
And it's all good. Like there's massive learning from this. Like this is all part of
Mm-hmm.
like this is what if your lowest point is just as abundant? Like because it carries potential if you're willing to see it, if
Yes.
you're willing to like actually see, and this is the basic like life is happening for me, not to me, right? And
Yes.
it's like you
Exactly.
can twist yourself in a knot around why did I do it this way? Why is it happening
Yeah.
this way? You'll never have a sufficient answer
No.
unless you're willing to see it through like a certain lens, right?
Yeah.
But like that's from that one decision of like my hands are off. And when you were telling that, and then that you got the consultant, and then you did this thing where you went, and then my business went like that. And there was a part of me that had a visceral like, oh
It
man.
was nuts, and I couldn't understand. And I thought, like, the answer cannot be
Yeah.
me. The
Yeah.
answer has to be, I'm just not getting the support that I need. I'm not getting, like, somebody's not telling me something.
Yeah, that was big what you just said there, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's literally, and so it was like, I'm throwing money
Yeah.
at anybody that's willing to tell me they have the missing link that's going to get me back to what I created by myself.
We can forget things. We can not remember. We can lose our remembering. We can step out of our rights and responsibility. Like those are normal, natural things. We can waver.
Yeah.
But there's something about still knowing that the answer is me, that I am the thing I'm looking for. Like, it's actually in me. And so that's a very different place to come from when you're seeking any kind of mentorship, guidance, support.
Exactly.
Like you're the one who's the answer. And when you forget that, you lose the potential of that, whatever abundance you're creating. Like it's not like you don't have it, you've lost access. It just means it's gonna either feel harder to see it or feel harder to feel it, that it's actually there.
Exactly. And that's the case, is like, it was hard to see it. It was hard to receive it. Like I literally went from thinking that there was like this, in my head, unlimited potential of income that I could make for the amount of income or impact that I was making.
Yeah.
And to like at the end of the year thinking, I can't even make $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like $4,000 is a stretch. Like 4,000, like who would pay me that? Like I literally started playing out these stories of like, what, like, why would anybody hire me?
Yeah.
Why would anybody want to pay me $1,000 a month? Let alone $2,000 a month. Like all of this stuff starts coming up.
It starts triggering all these other parts that were like really bothering you until you hit this certain energetic frequency. And then we're going to let you know how we feel in this frequency. Like we're going to let you know what it's all about here. Right.
Exactly. And that's really what was happening. And in January of this year, I really took it as like, because December was like this all started going downhill about October. Things started to happen in my business and outside of my business, where it was like bringing my attention to the life that you said you wanted when you quit your job is not the life that you're living. You're not doing the things that you said you would do if you were no longer in this very toxic place. And instead, the business is becoming a very toxic place. And
Yes.
so I started to have this like realization of like, okay, I've been calling in the wrong type of clients, clients that are not ready to work with me. And I've been overgiving and my boundaries are terrible. And so now I have to clean up the mess. I cannot expect anybody to clean up this mess
Yeah.
except for me.
Except for
And I
you.
have to deal with the repercussions of doing that. And so that's what I started to do in November, December. And the repercussions of me cleaning up my mess
Yeah.
led other clients to drop me.
Yep.
Because it was like, it seemed like it was out of left field. And that was like, okay, we have to live with the repercussions of this. Yeah. And let's start again. And let's stay connected to, I'm in the driver's seat. So what am I going to create and how can I enlist the right support that's not going to tell me to step out of the driver's seat?
Yep.
And instead, let's make this a much more stable foundation, because of everything that I learned last year, it was like how to create the stability, how to employ boundaries, how to create safety, how to like energetically hold what it is that I want.
That's the piece, the energetically hold what I want. And that's something I feel like we kind of talked about that even in our first like coffee chat. Was just like, how do we hold this? Because so my story is like literally not even 30 seconds. It's like the schools kept shutting down. I decided to prioritize my children and I didn't want to try to be doing and holding both of them. And I had just a holdover of stuff that had built up since, you know, the big like Corona had started. And so it was this incremental thing that was just like, and I release any of this, right? And so that's like, you know, a long-winded story put into 2 seconds, but that's really what it was for me, was just it was a very conscious decision to be at home with my children.
Yeah.
But I was very, very well aware that it would create a financial burden to the point where then at the end of December, I knew that they were likely going to close the schools again. I was like, yep, I'm it's almost like 100% sure that it's going to happen again, based on just everything I know. Plus my system didn't trust that it wouldn't happen again, even if the numbers were looking good or whatever things they do. I was just like, well, I have a memory of like going to do the thing and then the school shut down and I have to, you know, balance it all, right? I have to rearrange, and like, I'm fudging done with rearranging. I'm done with rearranging. So long story short, that's sort of what it was. But then when we kind of connected in January, both of us had decided, like we had both decided, like we had made a very conscious decision in our own lives, separate to even knowing each other back in January, back in December, like we've just decided it's going to work now. Yeah. And however we have to move around these decisions, it's going to work. And right from there, it's inevitable that abundance is created. However you want to measure, however you measure abundance, right? And that's, and I, you know, I can't see comments or if anybody's watching, but if you are watching, like, how do you measure abundance? Like, what's your data here? Like, what's your measurement? You know, how are you measuring it? Do you even like notice it, right? And so like we had both made that decision. And from there, I made a change. I had to be willing to make a change to the way that I always did a launch, the way that I always set up a program, the way that I did everything. I had to say, I'm willing to do it differently. I'm willing to do it in whatever way is going to put my nervous system at ease. Yes. And freaking relax me a little bit. So that I can show up, so that I can be in integrity, so that I can. Yes. And that was scary because I had to kind of let go of this idea of how this launch was going to be and how the program was going to unfold, that I had been like 2 years in the making. But I really didn't want to do it that way. When it came down to it, it was like, I don't want to do it this way, given everything that's happening right now. And so I'm going to just choose to be with what is and choose to do it in a way that feels really good. And I had to be really, really mindful not to make it mean something about me, Like,
Yes.
like I'm lowering my bar of expectation means lowering my
Yes.
frequency. Like
Yeah.
changing my mind to something, like even if you're like lowering your rates or
Mhm.
changing a level of commitment you're expecting people to be in or whatever it is, it's like it's so easy to make that mean that your vibration is changing and
Yeah,
that you're
exactly.
less than or you're diminishing
Mhm.
yourself. I had to be like,
Yes.
this is not a diminishment of my
Mhm.
capabilities, of
Yep.
my abundance. This is not a diminishment about anything about me other than this actually feels really good to do it this way. And so
Mhm.
from there, so many things changed. And
Yeah.
not just like money coming in, obviously, like that was a wonderful thing, but I started getting really busy in service.
Yes.
Like I started serving more people. And oh, one
Mhm.
tweak that I didn't mention, which I think I did tell you a little bit about my tutoring. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to give a whole big spiel about it, but I'll say that one thing that really helped me when it felt like I was at my like lowest in terms of income and serving people, right? When things were like at this pinnacle point of like, what's left?
Mhm.
Um, I consciously decided that I'm going to do something that I really love doing. And I love teaching children how to read.
Yes.
Like it feels good. I love doing it. I laugh, I have fun, I get silly. Like it's
Mhm.
super, super amazing and joyful, and I get paid for it. And there's
Yeah.
no like there is no concern about like asking for the money, like there's no worthiness
Mhm.
around it. Like
Yeah.
choose to do something that you already feel really good about, that you feel worthy about. There's no homework you have to do to
Yes.
calibrate yourself. Just go do that thing.
Just go do it.
And from
Mhm.
there, it was like, right, Leanna, you are a motherfucking rock star. Like you are
Yeah.
amazing. Like you are good at what you look at you go. And it was just, it
Mhm.
starts to build back this memory of like, this is who I really am when I'm
Yes.
in this. That was,
Oh, so good.
yeah. So like from there,
So good.
then everything gets to kind of like flow and move from it. And now I'm at a point where like I'm just about to have to create a wait list for my one-on-one clients. Like
Yay.
that's fabulous and I love that. And I've like and that's even like surpassing my old limit of how many clients. Like I've doubled that list. Um,
Wow.
in order to serve more people, right? And made changes to whatever my community program, however that
Mhm.
unfolds. So it's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And it's so similar because like the biggest thing for me was to give myself permission to not do what everybody else is doing and to just make this safe
Yeah.
and secure for me and fun.
And
Like
fun.
tapping into that playful energy of like, this
Yeah.
shouldn't stress me out. This should not be something that causes like some turmoil. Like, what can I do that doesn't cause any turmoil
Yes.
and make that right?
And
No
make
matter what the price point, no matter what the thing is. And so
yeah.
that's literally how I started, where it was like, okay, right now,
Yeah.
one-on-one clients for long-term packages do not feel safe for me. Like I'm rebuilding trust in myself. I'm rebuilding trust that
Yeah.
I can call in aligned clients. So what
Yeah.
does this look like? And at what price point is this? Because again, like I ended the year thinking like, holy shit, $4,000 is a stretch. Like I
It
can't even
feels
do
like
that.
it feels like a stretch for you. Whereas like 4,000, like 2, 3 months from now, you might just be like, yeah, that's it. There's no charge in your system.
Exactly, exactly. And that's what I was like, okay, the number is irrelevant. It's really about like, what's the point that this starts to create stories? So
Yes.
let's not trigger that right now. Let's just take it easy and like
Yeah.
repair this self-trust
Yeah.
that I had let go of. And so what that looked like was like low ticket stuff. So I was doing like low ticket 30-day
Yeah.
Voxer support packages with
Yeah.
a 90-minute call because I love getting on 90-minute calls with people and like we go really deep, really fast.
Yeah.
It's very activating. And then they have 30 days to like text message me because I'm constantly on my phone text messaging. So it's like, this is fun. This isn't even work.
Yeah.
And I started like selling those and I like sold out the number of spots that I had opened
Yeah.
within like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And so it was like, okay, this is fun. What else do I want to play around with right now? And just giving myself permission to try something new. So then I did these human design marketing blueprints. and those sold. I sold like 18 in
Of
a
course
week.
you did. Those looked amazing. I was like, why didn't I get one of those? But
But
like
it was like
small
all of this.
pieces.
Yeah, it
Small
was like
pieces.
small pieces. And then
Yeah.
when it came to like content, I had to let go of the idea that I'm supposed to show up in a certain way, because right now, like
Yeah.
I'm still repairing self-trust that I can just do what I want
Yes.
and make it right. And so I completely stopped. Like I had been building my Instagram profile and doing stories, Facebook
Yeah.
stories and Instagram stories. And I was like building this whole visibility plan. And I was like, you know what? That's not safe right now.
Yeah.
What is safe for me is writing.
Yeah.
So why don't I just write?
That's huge. Just what you said there. Sorry. I just want to like really name that. Like, did anybody else catch that? Like, this is why self-awareness matters the most, because
Mhm.
otherwise you're just running this old pattern where you're like,
Yeah.
I got to do visibility. It's got to be hard. Feels really
Mhm.
hard. Oh God, I guess this is the right thing to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. And you
Yeah.
keep that cycle of, first of all, self-betrayal. You're betraying actually a truth that you already
Yeah.
know, which is like, I
Mhm.
know this about myself. Like, don't make yourself wrong for not being ready for something.
Exactly.
Like, and not
Exactly.
making yourself wrong and just saying, actually, this is how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it
Mhm.
because it feels easy. And there is nothing wrong with creating any kind of plan or project
Mhm.
based on it feeling easy and not pushing you out of your comfort zone. Listen, you're
Yes.
going to get pushed out of your comfort zone whether you want it or not. At some
Mhm.
point, you're going to have to make an uncomfortable decision. You're going to have to do it a different way. It's going to happen. You don't have to go fishing for it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like
You
pick the
know?
battles, pick the thing, pick the battles. It's
Yeah.
like for me, it was like, why am I resisting against what I'm naturally really talented at? And I know I'm naturally really talented at, which is writing.
Yes.
So why don't I just make my writing the vehicle that sells my things and stop making this an overcomplicated deal? And I had to prove to myself
Yeah.
that I can just sell with my writing.
Yeah.
And I have proven that. And that's been like, okay, so at the bare minimum, I know that if I don't want to do anything else, I can write 1 to 2 really potent posts a week,
Yeah.
and I'm going to sell my stuff really fast.
Yeah. And for some people, like, so for some people, that's doing lives. I love doing lives.
Exactly.
It seems to be like, if
Mhm.
I look at the data, which is helpful, lives seem to have a good kind of return and
Mhm.
exchange in
Yep.
that sense, right? Whereas writing, yeah, writing can as well, but just kind of knowing where you feel really good is usually where you
Exactly.
are really showing up really well. And one thing you're really
Mhm.
good at actually is and I noticed a part was like, and you're not, Leanna, but like
No.
I love myself, it's all good. You are really good and consistent at sharing testimonials, right?
Yeah.
Like at really sharing testimonials and really laying it out for people, like, here's what so and so wanted, here's what we did, and here's the result that we got.
Mhm.
And I think that, like, so thank you, because I see that and I'm like, right, Leanna, you've got a million testimonials sitting in your inbox, like, just put them out there. But
That was the whole thing. Like I had testimonials from last year from like
yeah,
major transformations I had with people,
yeah.
and I wouldn't share them because I don't like, it was like a wound almost of like, but what if somebody doesn't believe I can do this with them?
Or what if I can't
Or
do it
what if I
again?
can't
Like,
replicate this? What
yeah,
if this was just luck? That was a story. Oh my God,
that's
that
a
was a
big one.
thing.
What if this was just like karmic luck? So I look at, that's
Mhm.
one of my like kind of woundy thingies, is like,
Mhm.
well, what if it was just this karmic luck of like, they just got to me at the right time and it was like this
Yes.
perfect, like, it's a lucky thing. Like,
It's a, it's
and
like I have no control over it. Is basically what I'm saying. Is like
yeah,
the
skirting
the
responsibility.
world. Yeah, exactly. And so that was part of my, like, I intentionally, when I
Yeah,
said, okay, writing is going to be the vehicle that I market myself, then it was like, if writing's the vehicle, then I have to start sharing about the transformations that I'm doing. I have to own
yeah,
how powerful I am,
yeah.
and I need to do it so that people can witness it,
Hmm.
instead of me hiding in the background and just being like, I'm behind the scenes and I'm really powerful and I'm going to boost you up.
Yes.
Like, no, I need to be able to shine light on this part of myself and
Yeah.
intentionally activate it
Yes.
and let people see it and continue. Like now I'm like, it's nothing. I'm getting testimonials left and right. And I'm like, oh yeah, I need to take a snapshot of this. I need like, where
Yes.
before I would have been like, no, I can't take a screenshot of this. I can't share this. This isn't, no.
You could do like a Leanna where you take the screenshot and then you just don't do anything about it. I'm having a little laugh at myself. I'm also just like kind of looking at the time here. Okay, so we'll start kind of wrapping this up. I just feel like this is going to flow so well into next week because we really want to talk to you about messaging, like,
Yes.
you know, and not necessarily messaging around like in a business sense, although Deborah, I'm sure you'll touch on that.
Yeah.
Because I love talking about messaging kind of cushioned in a sort of different way where we're really understanding that we're part of a very beautiful lineage of story that we've come from and that we're here to share. That's like, this is where this is what it's like at this point, not just in your own story, but like how you relate that story to the collective, where people are constantly looking for a sense of belonging. And if you're messaging in the way that you communicate your gifts and your magic, allow them to feel connected and that they belong to something. That's just this beautiful piece. I feel like we can kind of pull a bit of that out. But really, like, kind of big tie-ups here. I mean, my big takeaways are that abundance is your responsibility.
Oh my gosh, yes. You cannot outsource your path to abundance.
No. And it comes from making a decision in a different way, often from a different part of yourself, more self-guided. And it comes from small little changes, but sometimes just small or big decisions that lead you in a different direction, and not making it mean something about you if you change your mind.
Yeah, that's like the key, is to just recognize where you're at and work with it instead of against it. Like, make where you're at right.
And make it work, and make it
work.
Like make
it easy.
Make it easy. When you feel really called to a change, that doesn't mean that jumping into the deep end and you know, really shaking your nervous system up is the answer. That's like some weird narrative, I don't know, like related to how people have manipulated the concept of physics and quantum. That's not how it works. Quantum is like truth and action responding to your truth. That's it.
Yes,
it's not
exactly
like I woke up one day and like all my chakras were cleared and my life path was directed and I went through this quantum portal and like, and it happened in like a full moon cycle. Like, that's not true. That's not how it works. So, you know, like if you're kind of intrigued about quantum, like, it's probably not what you think it is.
It's not. And what we think it is not sustainable.
No.
Because if we're not ready, like, that's literally what happened to me last year. Like, that was such a quantum leap to go from 7,000 to like 16,000.
Yeah.
And that would be considered like a quantum leap. And I was not prepared for that. And it's not sustainable. Like, those big fast jumps, when you haven't done the work.
Yes.
It's like you jump and then you crash.
Yes.
And that's what you want to prevent, is like true abundance is there's no crash.
No, there's no crash. It's a garden. It's a garden. Nurture it, water it, give it sunlight. Like, these are universal truths on how life around us in every ecosystem is growing. So forget not that we are part of that. Okay, so next week is the 11th at 11. 1-1-1-1. So that's going to be magical, more about messaging. Okay, so, but you're offering packages right now, like your people can contact you and like maybe work with you.
So I'm still doing the marketing blueprints.
Cool.
I'm about to actually start talking about them again after I like did this round of 18 and learned so many things and got so many like, oh my God, this is amazing. And so I am going to roll out a new package, and then I'm also starting to enroll for my one-on-ones. Like 6 months, I was like, this is huge. I thought I was a commitment phobe with coaching. No, and not. I've worked through this experience. I'm like, okay, no, I can handle 6 months. I can handle a 6 month commitment.
6 months.
And it's in the best interest. Yeah, exactly.
If you're doing like transformations, like I always prefer people to do my 6 month. but like I give them the option. I don't do 3 months anymore. I used to do 3 months, but I'm like, no, it's just 4 months now. Like,
that's what I like. 4 months or 6 months is like, this is what we really need.
yeah. And that's like literally in the last like 2 weeks that's changed. It changed my mind because it changed my mind.
Yay.
My mind. Okay. Big love. I will see you next Friday, but like I'll be on Messenger before then.
Sounds good.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Happy Friday.
Bye.
And be amazing. And I'm going to see you later. Bye.
Sounds good. Bye.